Hey guys, welcome to another special episode of the Anime Match Good podcast. As always, I am your humble host, Jack. With me is my lovely co-host.
Ryu, what's up, guys? I'm back again. Uh,
Guess who's back?
back again.
Shady's back.
Hey.
Tell a friend.
Yeah.
Guess who's back?
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
I created a monster. Okay, no.
No. We don't want
Copyright.
YouTube. We just a parody. Parody is allowed. Parody is allowed. All right, there you go.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a very special movie, a movie we just saw.
Yes, and also it's only been out for only a weekend, so we are not gonna do any spoilers on this part. No spoilers at all until the very end.
No major spoilers until the very end.
Because we do want to talk about it in a little bit more depth. We want to put our theories in on what was gonna happen next. But the movie we're talking about is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah, I messed it up.
That was the first one.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot.
So, yeah.
They're both good movies, so I kind of forget.
So, yeah, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a computer-animated superhero film. It's the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018. This movie is directed by 3 new directors, Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson. Like the original, it was written and executive produced by Christopher Miller and Phil Lord. And so, yeah, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So just from the top, let's talk about how we felt about the movie. I'll get us started. I fucking enjoyed this film. This film was a blast. I had a lot of fun watching it. I loved the characters, the animation. I had a damn good time. Is it a perfect movie? No. But what really is a perfect movie? But I had a hell of a time. MJ and I are going to have a hell of a time.
Nope. To keep MJ out of it. For me, I enjoyed the movie very much. I love seeing all of the new variants of Spider-Mans out there. I loved seeing all of the action. Everything. It was so good, and a lot of references too. I really enjoyed a lot of the references.
Yeah, like I said at the top, I really love this movie's animation. First, Into the Spider-Verse was a real game changer for the animation industry, because since that movie came out, a lot of animation studios like Paramount and DreamWorks, they've done more experimental type animation. Did you watch The Last Puss in Boots?
I have not. I haven't had a chance to watch it.
Well, if you do watch it, you'll notice that a lot of the action scenes, they're animated in a similar way to the original Into the Spider-Verse, where they have more stylized character models. They have more stylized backgrounds, and the frame rate drops so that it's more choppy, it's more punchy than regular 3D animation.
Which it was really good, regardless.
Yeah, and also that new Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out later this year. That one also is very inspired.
Yes. I'm actually going to watch it when it comes out, because during my childhood, I watched the Ninja Turtles. The version I really like is the one from 2001?
2003.
2003, yeah, there you go. That version is my favorite one. I even have DVDs of it, of the first season, which I enjoy watching that one over and over again.
Yeah, but going back to Spider-Verse, yeah, so this movie, I felt that the animation, for my taste, was really, really well done. I will say this about the original. There were some animation choices from the original that I didn't quite like. I felt that in the original, they used too many blurry shots, which I wasn't too big of a fan of, because I wanted to see like the whole picture. And I felt that they overused this blurring filter too much in the first one. Not so much in this one. In this one, the action and the animation is a lot more clear, I felt, than the first one. But the action is really good in this movie. It's very fun. It's very kinetic. It's also very chaotic. A lot of the action scenes in this movie are like chase sequences. So
there was a lot of chase sequences.
Oh yeah. But it was very well done. So anything that you liked in particular about the art style in this one?
I thought it was a little bit more different than the first movie.
Yeah, because there are slight differences, I do feel, from the original, but also they really experimented with like different character models because in the beginning of the movie there was this one character, the way that he was designed, his art direction made him look like he was like a pencil drawing. Do you remember the vulture character from the beginning of the movie?
Oh, well, ha, 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 ha. Spoilers, my little friend. Not
Well,
allowed
it's at the beginning of the movie, so we don't. And also, I'm not saying what happens to the character.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying. I'm just saying that I really liked what they did with that character. And also, there was other Spider-Man cameos where they referenced different art styles other than 3D animation.
They references the animation series of different kind of Spider-Mans.
The original
game,
1960s one.
Yeah, the original one. They also referenced the Marvel game, the one Marvel Spider-Man. They came out for the PS4 and the PS5.
Yeah.
They reference also variation of Scarlet Spider, the clone of Spider-Man.
Yeah, he has a very comic book inspired art style to him.
There were honestly, I enjoy seeing a lot of different Spider-Mans, even though they're all Peter Parker. But there were some.
Well, not everyone is a Peter Parker.
Hey, let me finish. Even though we know every one of them, almost every one of them is a Peter Parker, but some of them are also variants of different Spider-Man that is not Peter Parker, that are different race. How you say it inappropriately? Bilingual.
Well, there's different Peter Parkers who are of different ethnicities.
There you go. That was the word I was trying to find. Because they brought every different Spider-Man, even animal Spider-Mans.
Oh yeah, the T-Rex and the cat.
Yes. They brought in animals, even vehicles. There's even a vehicle Spider-Man too. I was like, so many different Spider-Mans. I didn't even knew half of them.
That's the beauty of the multiverse. Yeah, because I've never heard of the Dune Buggy Spider-Man, but
yeah,
I do know that there was like a T-Rex Spider-Man somewhere out there. But yeah, lots of references for Spider-Man fans. I was really, and this is not really a spoiler because he's in the trailer. I was really glad to see that they included obscure Spider-Mans like Spider-Man Unlimited. So he was in the background for a few shots, and so I was glad that they referenced him. So many different references in this one.
Yep. I'm kind of amazed that he haven't shown Madam Web.
Well, actually, do you know that the Sony is actually developing a Madam Web standalone movie in live action?
Yes, I did know that.
But
I was disappointed. We didn't see her in it or reference that she's in there.
Well, yeah, because it really depends. Because for me, I feel that it really depends on the type of story that they were trying to tell. And I think we should start talking about the story, because one thing that I was a little bit disappointed in this one is that we didn't get to see a lot of the characters who were in the first movie. We do get to see Peter B. Parker and Gwen Stacy from the first movie, but
I don't forget about I'm forgetting her name already.
Penny Parker. Yeah, but she's only really a cameo, and she only has like one line. So
one line, but she got shown on two scenes for a few seconds.
Yeah, but she wasn't really part of the story, and so that's one of the things that I did that I was a little bit disappointed about this one, is because I did love the supporting characters from the original movie, because I love Spider-Man Noir. Besides Miles Morales, he was probably my favorite Spider-Man in the movie. Peter, the Spider-Ham, he was pretty funny. And Penny Parker, she was also like an interesting... in that movie, she was like the interesting art style character from that first movie. Her and Spider-Ham, because Spider-Ham was animated like a Looney Tunes character, and she was animated like an anime character. So I did somewhat miss those characters in this one, but there is hope for the future for those characters later on. But I did miss them in this one.
Well, yeah, I kind of understand your point, but of course they were not the main focus.
Yeah, they weren't because it wasn't their story.
Yeah, it wasn't their story. It was all about Morales.
Yeah, but what they did with the characters in this one, I was really happy with. I do love where they take Miles Morales as a character in this one. It's been a year. He's grown up a little bit, and they really explore his relationship with his parents. And I actually really like the parents in this one. Honestly, I didn't think I was gonna like them as much as I did in this one, because they really do serve a purpose, and I wasn't like mad or bored or or annoyed at anything that they did in the movie. I thought they fit very well in the story, and I really liked them as characters. What
Mm.
did you think about Miles and his parents?
I love the interactions, especially when they were both talking about Miles' future.
Yeah.
Their interactions, I just thought it was funny just seeing them like, ooh,
Yeah.
and hey, listen here, listen here. Like, I just love that interaction so much.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, oh my
Very,
god,
very natural too.
yeah, very natural. It doesn't feel like it was forced.
Yeah, exactly. I loved how like the mom and dad, like the little idiosyncrasies that they had, it didn't feel forced. It felt very natural, and it didn't feel like 100% realistic all the time, but it wasn't cringe. I was just happy that their dialogue and their acting wasn't cringe, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I actually did like the fact that in this one, Miles's mom is more of a character than she was in the last one. Because in the last one, it was more focused on his relationship with him and his dad, and his mom gets more of a spotlight in this one than in the last one.
Yeah, I don't know if they took inspiration in this, but in the Miles Morales Marvel game, the second one, in the storyline, I played it myself, and I have streamed it, but I haven't finished streaming it. But in the storyline, Miles' mother actually becomes the mayor, trying to be the mayor of their residence, trying to stop this corporate company. And in that universe, is Miles' dad is dead, which is hinting from from this movie is also gonna happen. So I think the reason why they're focusing on the mother is because if this thing happened in the movie that we just watched, and it's gonna follow on, and that does happen, I think that they're trying to reference it from the game of why they have the mother more as a character than she was in the last movie.
Yeah, but I also feel that the screenwriters probably wanted to do something different with this one too. But because he already had that good connection with his dad in the first one, they probably wanted to change things up a little bit with having his mom be more of a central character.
Yeah.
I also really liked what they did with Gwen Stacy in this one. They really because this is like a slight spoiler. We don't actually get to see like Miles Morales for like the first maybe 10 or 15 minutes of the movie.
I like to say like the first like 25, because it kind of feels like 25 minutes. But I bet
I'll have to see once the movie comes out, like on Blu-ray or like on iTunes. But yeah, that first chunk of the movie, we don't actually get to see Miles Morales for a lot of the first part of the movie. A lot of it is focused on Gwen Stacy, and we actually get to learn a little bit more about her. And I actually really liked her. I really like her voice actress. I think her voice actress does a really good job portraying her. She feels believable, and Gwen Stacy has like a lot of angst, a lot of attitude, and I think her voice actress, I think her name is Haley Steinfeld. She really plays Gwen Stacy really well. I really enjoy her performance. What did you think of how they handled Gwen Stacy in this one?
I really enjoyed it. Just having just the voice actor talking as her and going through all live.
Yeah.
For the first half of the movie, it was so good. I was very into it.
Yeah.
She gave out her lines so well.
Yeah, it was a really good performance.
Like it felt real.
Yeah, and also for like all the other like voice actors, I don't think anybody gave like a bad performance in this one. I can't
everyone
think of
gave
any.
a good performance.
There was a lot of performances I liked in this one. Also, one thing about Gwen Stacy that I think I didn't appreciate in the first film, but now I do, I really like her costume.
Her costume is awesome. It's a ballerina.
Yeah,
her feet is a ballerina of balance and agility. And her hood is her punk rock attitude of being in a band.
Yeah, I really like the hood in her design. It's really unique and cool.
Yeah, it's a good design. I really liked it. I even mentioned to myself when I saw her the first time, like, I really like the hood. I really like the ballerinas. Yeah. I like how she's bringing her hobby into her costume.
Yeah, but I think just watching this one now recently, I just really appreciate her design. But I think I appreciate a lot more of her character because they actually did spend some time developing her character at the beginning of the movie, and I think that's why I really liked her in this one too. We do get introduced to some other characters. I first want to talk about like kind of like the main villain of this movie. It's a character named the Spot.
And if you guys know about the Spot is one of the Spider-Man's most weakest enemies.
Yeah, he's
And
also pretty obscure too.
yeah, the Spot is the one of kind of these enemies that Spider-Man can just fight, get him arrested, and get him out of the way.
Yeah, because in the movie they keep calling him the villain of the week.
Yeah, the villain of the week.
And that's kind of true because I think in a past episode I mentioned that the Spot really isn't used a lot in Spider-Man media, and the last thing I remember seeing him in was in that 1990s Spider-Man cartoon. He was the villain. He was the villain of the week for one episode.
Yeah.
And that was like the last big thing I remember seeing him in. I don't know if they put him in like another video game or in another comic.
Nope.
But
and to my memory,
but
he
this
was
is like,
not mentioned in any animations, no any teasers in movies, games, or anything at all. He has never been mentioned before.
Yeah, and then so this is like his big like return to like Spider-Man, like mainstream Spider-Man media. I really enjoyed him.
Yes, I enjoyed him a
Spot?
lot. Yeah. I enjoyed his little quirkiness, how he's like, hey, where's your ATM? In the bag.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. And then he just goes like, all right, money. Like, oh, nope,
Yeah.
that wasn't it. Oh, no. I like his little goofiness. It's just like me. It's like, I see something, oh, look.
He's a great incompetent villain at the beginning.
Yes, but I love him as a character because his quirkiness, I like quirky people. If you guys know me and watch my streams, there's a character called Araktakto Ito, an orc in that game, and I love his adorableness, his idiocy, his character, all the voice. The voice actor, Max, I forgot his last name. He does amazing work on that character so much that I enjoy this character so much. Every time he's in a cutscene or he has a story play involved in the story, I just love interacting with him. He gives up the same vibe of that character.
Yeah.
And I really like the Spot because of it. He has that quirky little attitude that fits.
I like the lines that they give him. He has like these very kind of like almost improvisational kind of like lines. He always has like a little zinger or a little one-liner.
Yes, that's why I like him because he's quirky and he gives good one-liners.
And he actually doesn't stay like too pathetic throughout the movie. Like as the movie goes on, he does become more and more threatening and menacing. But one thing I really liked about the way that they wrote the character is that he's a good parallel to Miles. Because both Miles and the Spot in this movie are characters who are severely like underestimated in the eyes of the other characters. So I felt that was like a little good touch that they did in writing the character. So I really like the Spot. I really like the actor who voice acted the Spot. Do you know who voice acted him?
No, I did not.
He's played by an actor whose name is Jason Schwartzman. He's an actor who's been in like a lot of things. He does a lot of work with Wes Anderson. I remember him mostly from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He played the villain in that one. And actually, this movie did give me a lot of Scott Pilgrim vibes, to be honest. Because I think this movie and Scott Pilgrim are two of the best like movies that represent like comic book art style and comic book art direction in not a live action movie, in like a Hollywood movie. Because there's other movies who try to replicate like say like a comic book style and try to recreate comic book worlds, and it doesn't always succeed. Like I think about like the original Hulk from 2003, like how they tried to like do split screen and do like comic book panels, but it all looked cheesy and cringe instead of actually like serious and creative.
Yeah,
like,
I got it.
But this this Across the Spider-Verse movie really nails the comic book look and feel for a movie, you know.
Oh, I don't know if we can reveal. Can we reveal who was the Spot from the first movie, or we just referencing who is the guys?
Spoilers for the Spot.
For the Spot. So when we were watching the movie, the guy revealed he was the guy that Miles Morales threw the donut at.
Bagel.
The bagel at.
Yeah.
When they were running away with the computer.
Also, if you look at that original movie and when Miles hits him with the bagel, there's a little like graphic that says bagel when he hits him.
I know that. But I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people who have seen it or haven't seen it will probably get angry. It's like, why you not mention the guy of the bagel? Like, I just wanted to make sure that he's the guy of the bagel. I was not expecting him to be the guy of the bagel that becomes the villain. So.
But that's not so big of a spoiler because
I know,
because we're just talking about who he is.
Yeah, that's it. But I'm just saying, like, you guys forgot that he was the guy of the bagel got hit in the face or something like that.
No, yeah, but that's really good in reincorporation. I did like it. Like, there's nothing about his backstory that annoys me or makes me angry. I just like, yeah, I like it. There's I think his backstory is well written enough, and also it reminds us of that first one too. So there's no complaints from me.
All
I
right.
like it. I was really surprised how well they handled the spot because actually, before we watched the movie, I was reading some stuff on the internet about like the making of this movie, and actually, the directors and the producers didn't want the spot to be the villain of the movie. The person who really wanted the spot to be in the movie was executive producer Ivy Arad, who's been an executive producer on a lot of the Spider-Man movies since the first ones back in the early 2000s, and he really wanted the spot to be the villain in this movie, but the other characters really, oh, not the other characters, the other directors and producers really didn't want him because they just really didn't see his potential. But once they were
Mm,
convinced to put him in the movie, they really saw the true potential that his character had for the
uh-huh.
story. So good
Yeah.
on Ivy Arad for championing the spot as the villain of the movie.
Yeah, that's a really good choice to put the spot in it because
Yeah.
he was the one who creates holes to
Hmm.
go through other holes, and then he made a whole thing of what he can do with that holes. Because
Exactly.
honestly,
Yeah.
I don't think the spot has ever been like described what his abilities are.
Hmm.
We just know him as the spot that can pour
Hmm.
one thing to another and then do all the things, and
Yeah.
that's it. They never go into depth what his powers were capable of. They never went to depth of what he can do or cannot. So it was a very good seeing what his powers would actually be. Because if you guys
Yeah.
seen the movie, there were powers that he couldn't done in the beginning, but later on when he was being a threat, he had powers that he didn't had it in the
Hmm.
beginning. Which I don't know if my co-host has noticed of him when he was gaining more in depth in his powers. He's starting to start lifting up and start moving out of the way without using his spots. He was gaining more power and more abilities than just teleporting one place and another with his spots.
Yeah, I like the escalation because by the end of the movie, you really feel like, oh, this guy's really gonna fuck up. He's gonna really fuck up a lot of people's shit. One thing I also like to mention about this movie is like I do appreciate that these Spider Verse movies are showcasing more obscure Spider-Man villains, putting them in the spotlight, like Prowler in the first Spider Verse movie, and then in this one with the Spot. I like the fact that they're using more obscure and lesser known Spider-Man villains instead of reusing like Green Goblin or like Doc Ock and stuff like that. Although there was a Doc Ock in the other one, but it was like a different Doc Ock, which was
Well, there
nice.
were different versions of Doc Ock in that movie, especially a version of Peter Parker being
Hmm.
one
Are you talking about this one or the original one?
of this movie,
Oh
the
yeah,
one
yeah.
we're talking
No,
about.
no, you're right on because yeah, because we do get glimpses of other Spider-Man foes. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we had a Vulture, and then there's a lot of
There's
awesome
a
Easter eggs and cameos.
Yes, there's a lot of versions of villains we see, especially. It's I love seeing them all, like the version, all different versions of all. Oddly enough, there were more Doctor Octopus's villains more than anything other villains.
I thought that was just like a kind of like a nice little joke.
Yeah,
Because well, Doc Ock is one of like the best Spider-Man villains.
yeah, he is intelligent. He's an octopus. He fights
He's
Spider-Man every time he has a chance to.
he
He causes problems
Yeah.
with Spider-Man. He created in whatever universe you see, he created the symbiote, anti-symbiote,
And if you
and
think yeah,
Carnage. One of the universes.
and if you think about it, also Doctor Octopus, if he and Peter Parker share like a lot of traits, they share like a lot of character traits also. So it's like a good inverse of each character. There's an evil version and a bad version. Well, that's what writers call the shadow. Like a good villain is a shadow of the hero. But yeah, but continue.
So and also I was kind of was I was actually looking in this movie to find the ultimate Spider-Man, a version of Doc
Hmm.
Ock that took Peter Parker's body, transferring from his body to switching bodies basically and becoming Spider-Man himself. I did not see him there at all. Superior Spider-Man Doc Ock when he became Spider-Man and stole the body of Peter Parker. So I was looking for him. I didn't find him because he's one of those villains that became the hero, tried to be the hero, realized that he could not be the hero, and gave his body back to Peter Parker. I didn't see him in any references or in the
Well,
cave or in the scene where they show
I
all the
mean,
different versions.
that would have just been distracting, because if you're gonna bring up that guy and you're not gonna do anything with it,
No, like
why
I was
even bring him?
expecting him being in a cage,
Hmm.
like the other of the cages we saw
I
of the other
guess, but
villains.
it's just a cameo. It's just like a fun thing for like the fans. So I wasn't really paying too much close attention to that. But again,
No, for me, I was staying close attention because I really liked that story of Superior Spider-Man, of the comics, and I really wanted to see if they actually reference him. And like they didn't, they didn't.
I mean,
or they probably did, but I probably didn't see it.
did the movie really need like that cameo? That
No,
like,
not
just
really.
saying,
I'm just like, as a person of a fan of that version of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
I was just trying to see if they did put him in there, because he is a Spider-Man technically, but also a villain.
yeah. But
So I was just looking for him to see if they did put him in there, because there are a lot of Spider-Mans out there.
because I feel like a lot of the cameos they were trying to probably put in like cameos that people really loved or expected. Like again, I said Spider-Man Unlimited. There is an awesome cameo from the Spectacular Spider-Man. And then they also use a character that I think maybe is not the most popular character, but it's a character that people kind of hate. They use Ben Riley a lot.
Ben Riley, the Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he got his butt.
Yeah,
he
because
was.
because do you know what's the whole deal with like the Ben Riley Spider-Man and why the fans hate him?
Why? Because I want to hear it.
Well-
and also
well,
want
'cause
to
in
get
the
the chat
90s
angry.
Because in the 90s they were Marvel decided to like update Spider-Man and make an event story out of Spider-Man. So what they did is they introduced the Clone Saga. So they decided to do a story where like the Peter Parker that we've been following was not the actual Peter Parker, but he was a clone. And Ben Riley was the original Peter Parker, and so they introduced the Scarlet Spider. So they redesigned Spider-Man's outfit, and they made it all red, and he was wearing like a ripped up blue hoodie to make him more, make him more 90s. Yeah, more hip.
I
and
thought they do it
attitude.
more rugged. To be
Yeah,
more
but like
rugged.
because that was like the style of the 90s. They were trying to make Spider-Man for the 90s. And so a lot of fans got frustrated with this because Marvel at the end of it all, they couldn't really decide, is Ben Riley the original Peter Parker or is Ben Riley the clone? We don't know. Like Marvel just couldn't figure out like what to do with that character.
Well, for the character for Ben Riley in the anime series, The Ultimate Spider-Man, when Ben Riley was introduced, they made him as the clone, not the other way around.
Yeah, because now I think what they try to do with the Ben Riley character is completely make it obvious that he is the clone. But for a while, Marvel was trying to make him like the canon Spider-Man, and that pissed off a lot of fans because fans who grew up loving Peter Parker were offended that Marvel was trying to do away with Peter Parker because they were trying to make him more hip, more edgy, more grunge. That's why he has the ripped up hoodie. And that's why he looks more 90s.
All right, cool.
It was
Got
completely like a business decision.
Yeah. Got it.
And yeah, but I was really surprised that they did use him a lot. But basically, he was a joke in the movie.
Yeah, he was basically just a big joke. That's it.
Nobody took him seriously.
Nope.
Let's talk about the other new Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099.
Yes.
This one, I don't know how fans are gonna react to this one because I will say this. They really make Spider-Man 2099 into a huge asshole.
Oh yeah, he was. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, they've really made him unlikable. I felt that for the story that they were telling, I felt that they were using the character in an interesting way. I didn't like him and I wasn't behind him 100% of the time, but it was interesting how they were using him. And it was interesting that and also Peter B. Parker mentions this, he was a super serious Spider-Man. He had no sense of humor or no levity to him at all.
Because all Spider-Mans have sense of humor over their tragic.
Yeah, and this version of 2099 seemed like a huge, raging asshole to me. And very unlikable. What did you think about 2099?
For me, as a gamer of just reading the room of this character, he was a character that had to follow a set rule that he has to follow. Basically, my co-host mentioned they follow a program.
Mm-hmm.
So He was just like the main guy following a program that was
Mm-hmm.
created, and he follows it to a T.
Yeah. And it's also interesting because Gwen also like the conflict in in her storyline, like her B plot, is that she's also going up against she also has conflict with somebody who's very by the book. And Miles, with his conflict with 2099, is that he's going up against somebody who's 100% by the book and has no flexibility over the rules of the situation. So it's very interesting that they kind of like cross their storylines kind of cross in that way thematically.
Yeah.
I really thought that the 2099's actor, what's his name, Oscar Isaac, he played Oscar Isaac. That actor who plays 2099 is so good at playing unlikable assholes.
Really?
Because Oscar Isaac, before he was in Spider Verse, he was in the new Star Wars movies.
And he played
He
an
played
unreliable asshole. Okay.
Yeah, he played Poe Dameron, and in some of the movies, like in episode 8 and 9, he was very unlikable in those. Like he acted like such a douche and such an asshole in those movies that it didn't surprise me that they casted him as Miguel O'Hara in this one.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Any other new Spider-Man characters that you really enjoyed or were surprised to see in this one?
There were a lot of versions of Spider-Man, but I don't want to go into depth because there will be spoilers of revealing them.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of female character Spider-Mans that
Yeah.
I loved,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't want to be very specific because I want you guys to watch it yourself. So when you go there, see it like, oh, he was talking about this person. Oh, okay. It wasn't really big a surprise to me now because he really got ruined it. So there was a lot of female Spider-Mans that we get to interact. Miles interact with them, and I really loved their design, how they became Spider-Man, how they do their Spider-Man job thing. I loved it very much. It was very cool. I really loved the interaction, and also when Miles was going and seeing other Spider-Man swinging around with him, there was a version of a female Spider-Man that had a nano suit popping up. And that was so cool because she just gave him a look. He put on his mask. She just popped up her suit. Basically just pop up her muscles and then poof, suit's there. And I thought it was so cool. And she just gave him a look, laugh, pop up her muscles, suit is on. I was like, hey, that's just showing up.
Yeah, when they're like in that where they're in basically the lobby. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
That was a good effect. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cool. I love that. I love that she just scuffs at him.
Yeah.
Pump out her muscles and suit is on. Like poof, right there. It was so cool. I loved it. Even other Spider-Mans also put their mask on. When she laughed at Miles, puffed her muscles. The suit goes out. They see her. They put their mask on.
Yeah, and one thing that I liked about, like, say, the movie before it came out, like when the trailer came out, I like the fact that they basically like were memeing on like the plot of the movie because, like, I remember like watching like people like on TikTok saying like, "Oh, what did like talking about like Miles is like being chased by the other spider people?" They were like, what did bro do to get them so mad? And I was like, yeah, what did bro do to get them so mad?
I think we really talked about this. I did put a theory that Miles was was being chased, and I forgot what.
But I just like the fact that people were like memeing the trailer, and I was like, yeah, what did bro do to get them all mad?
Like, did this boy just say the equivalent of the N-word to them?
Oh shit. Oh, but speaking of that, one thing that meme reminded me of. There's this scene in the Boondocks. There's this character. His name is Thugnificent. He's a rapper. So in the show, he's a rapper and he's friends with Riley. They do kind of like a documentary on him, and they're showing him where he grew up, like in this like very like impoverished little town in Georgia. And he was telling a story to the interviewer. I saw on that street corner over there, I saw 10 dudes beat the shit out of this guy, and at the end of it, one guy took a dump on him, and then he said. And I thought to myself, what did that guy do to make them so mad they took a dump on him? And like he's like looking up in the sky, like very concentrated. And it was so funny because that was like me watching the trailer. I was like, what did bro do to make them so mad? But anyways, that's my 2 cents. You know what other Spider person I liked in this movie?
Which one?
I like the Indian Spider-Man.
Oh yes, he was my favorite.
He was really good. There's this great joke that he has with Miles, where Miles tells him, "Oh, I like chai tea," and then the and then the Indian Mexican, the Indian Spider-Man is saying, "Oh, that's like just saying TT. Chai is tea."
Yeah.
And I never knew that. I learned something today.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was just chai tea, but no, it's just chai, just chai, because chai means tea in English. So it's basically you're just saying chai, TT. Would you like some TT?
Yeah.
Not chai. You're supposed to just say chai, which means tea.
And yeah, and this and he has a really cool design. I liked his city and I liked his costume. And I also liked his acting. Like I said, a lot of the acting in this movie is really top notch, really good voice acting. Not a bad performance. I can't think of a bad performance.
I really, when speaking towards the Indian Spider-Man, I love his backstory and how he speaks, how he talks, and how he gives his attitude.
Yeah.
I loved his attitude through the whole thing.
Yeah. One other Spider-Man that we forgot to mention is Spider-Punk.
Yes, the rebellious one.
Yes, they used Spider-Punk in this movie, and one thing that I really well, I don't know if you cut onto this, but one thing I really liked about his character is that they keep mentioning him throughout the movie, even before we actually meet him. And so here's the thing, Miles is really in love with Gwen,
Yes,
and he really wants Gwen, and he really wants to like date Gwen and have Gwen be his girlfriend. And so when they meet up again in the movie, Gwen mentions Spider-Punk, and he's like,
he got jealous.
And yeah, he gets jealous throughout the movie, and it just kept reminding me of that meme where like me, the guy she told me not to worry about, and Spider-Punk is the guy she told him not to worry about. And I like the fact that like also like we learn later that that Spider-Punk lets Gwen crash in his dimension, and like we later learn that Gwen leaves her sweaters at his apartment, and then she borrows his like Converse, and it's like, oh bro, Miles, I'm so sorry for you, because that really kind of hurt me.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah, it hurt like seeing that Miles getting cucked.
Oh yeah, oh Miles, bro, I'm so sorry. I've been there. Bro.
And it also makes it even worse that she gets him back again in the end of the movie.
Well, okay, so I wasn't really too mad about that because
he is a rebel.
Spider-Punk does help Miles a little bit.
Yes, but he is a rebel. So
he is a rebel, but I think
basically by Spider-Punk, if you guys don't know who he is specifically, Spider-Punk is just a revolt character. He does not follow commands, orders.
Yeah, he's a nonconformist.
Yeah, he is a nonconformist Spider-Man, and that's why he's a punk guy, and he plays music, stars.
He fights fascists in his dimension. Yeah, like he's really like that's what punk is. Punk is rebelling against the establishment, and so I felt like at least in the spirit of punk, they really did that character well.
Yes, I really enjoyed that character for being resistance, and I really like how, like in the middle of the movie, of the climax of them and talking about serious shit. There's one scene where he just activates his portal to go back to his own dimension and say, "Screw this, I'm out, I quit," and he tossed his thing, went back to the portal. I was like, my God, dude, when things are getting serious, it's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this. I'm being part of what I'm destroying. So yeah, he kind
of reminds me of Rick from Rick and Morty. You know how like they have the Citadel of Ricks?
Yeah.
But the Rick that we follow in that show, he doesn't want to be part of their organization. He kind of reminds me of that.
Even though he helped created it.
Yeah, but you know how like Rick is. He doesn't want to be part of like any kind of like bureaucracy. So I felt like he was kind of like that in this movie.
All right, got it.
Anything else before we go into spoiler territory?
Before spoiler territories. Oh, I really love that they shown a pregnant Spider Woman, and her fighting. That shows women empowerment. Oh yeah, I really love that.
I did not expect that in this movie. And she is not the only Spider-Man with child. Peter B. Parker also has a daughter. And one thing that I was afraid watching the trailer is I was afraid that they were going to spend too much time following Peter B. Parker and his baby around and watching his baby just do a bunch of cute shit.
No.
Thankfully, I will say this. Thankfully, they don't spend too much time on that because I was really afraid that they were going to turn this into an Illumination movie. Because you know what Illumination does? Illumination always has to put in like a cute character that we're supposed to go, "Aw," when they do like some cute shit. And I was really afraid that they were going to do this, but thank God they didn't. They had her there for a while. She got a few funny laughs. She served a purpose, and then no more. But one thing that I was worried about is that there was a chase scene in the middle of the movie, and Peter B. Parker has her throughout the whole chase scene. And I'm like, is she okay? Is she in pain? Like, dude, be careful with your kid.
On his offense, he did say that it's bad parenting. I shouldn't be doing this, and I guess he does it.
And this is not a spoiler because they show it in the trailer.
Yeah,
she is shown to inherit his spider powers, so you can maybe make the argument that she's like more stronger and more developed than your average baby.
Yes.
But anyway, but in the back of my mind, I was like, dude, Peter, take care of your kid. You're putting her in dangerous situations. But it wasn't so bad.
Also, speaking of the child, she's probably has spider sense. Probably through that whole scene, she's also like telling her dad, saying, "Hey, stop, nope." And part of it is like, all right, my spine sense is telling me to move this way, but my kid is telling me to move her a different way. So he's probably moving her as well. Like when he's dodging himself, he's moving the baby out of the way as well.
All right. Anything else before spoilers?
Let's see. Anything before spoilers?
Because I think I've said everything that I have to say that's not spoilery.
For me, I think that's all for me as well. I cannot think of a thing that I can mention.
Okay, so before we get into spoilers, I do have to mention that we are going to be talking about some spoilery things. So
we're going to be talking about our theories, where we're going to think what's going to happen in the future, why certain characters are being brought in, certain characters are why they had shouldn't in, and what happened in certain universes being visited in the movie. Okay. So if you guys do not want to hear any of this, click out right now. Or go to the standpoint where we finished talking about it.
Yeah, if you're watching the YouTube version of this podcast, I will put a time code in the middle of the screen. You can skip to there. If you're listening to us through the audio version, go watch the movie first, then come back and listen to the rest of the podcast.
We really do not want to spoil anything because it's still fresh. So,
but there's a lot to talk about this ending.
Yes, and we're gonna get into it right now.
But I'm gonna start off with something that isn't super spoilery. This is more of a shout out than a spoiler. So in the middle of the movie, when Miles Morales gets taken to the headquarters of the Spider People, he gets this all these different villains. From different dimensions, and he runs into a version of the Prowler who is not his uncle, and that version of the Prowler is played by actor and singer Donald Glover, who's also known as Childish Gambino.
And this version of the Prowler is real, our version of real.
Yeah, because if you remember Spider-Man Homecoming, the Tom Holland Spider-Man, he doesn't fight him, but he comes into contact with a guy who is supposed to be the Prowler in that universe, and that's him in this movie. But what I want to mention about his actor, Donald Glover is one of the main reasons why we have the character Miles Morales, because around the year of 2010, Sony was auditioning new actors to play Spider-Man after Sam Raimi decided not to make Spider-Man 4. Sony was looking for a brand new Spider-Man to headline their Amazing Spider-Man movie. And Donald Glover, I think in a tweet or in an interview, he said, why can't a guy like me audition for Spider-Man? Because like traditionally Spider-Man has mostly just been a white guy. And so because Donald Glover brought this to the attention of basically like Hollywood and everyone in the entertainment business, Brian Michael Bendis, one of Miles Morales's, or I think the creator of Miles Morales, he decided to create a black Spider-Man. And so it was Brian Michael Bendis being inspired by Donald Glover to create Miles Morales. So in a way, they're paying tribute to Donald Glover by giving him a cameo in this Miles Morales story, which is pretty cool. But that's all I have to say about that. I just wanted to bring that to people's attention because I
Yeah,
thought it was really cool that
it's
they put him
good to
in.
know where the original idea came from. It's good to
Yeah.
know it.
And yeah, so now let's really get into the spoilers. I'll let you get started with this one.
Okay, so I don't know where to even start with the spoiler. All right, so in this scene, the scene I'm gonna talk about is when Miles finally became got introduced in the HQ. When they start talking about the Spider-Man's uh, action scenes of what makes them a Spider-Man. They reveal a lot of things that reveal that certain things has to happen for a Spider-Man to be a Spider-Man, or their universes crashes crumbling down and take every universe of Spider-Man with it. So it just shows that even though they know the information to stop certain things to happen to that Spider-Man, if they change anything, the universe of their world will destroy itself.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be their canon worlds of the Spider-Man.
Yeah, because one of the things that causes like this conflict is that Miles in Spider-Man India's world, he saves a police captain from death, and because of the canon, that character was canonically supposed to die, but because he saves him, Miles creates like this hole in the universe that's sucking and destroying Spider-Man India's world. And so that causes like a lot of conflict between him and 2099.
Oh, and also the reason why is because this Spider-Man has only been a Spider-Man for 6 months. And every Spider-Man in 6 months or in a year, something bad's supposed to happen to be the building block for them to be Spider-Man.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, and I like what they're doing with this idea. They're playing with that idea that, every Spider-Man has to have like an Uncle Ben moment. They're supposed to have the death of Gwen or Captain Stacy, stuff like that. And I like this idea. I like how like they're playing with like comic book expectations, and I like that. Anything else that you want to add to that plot line?
And once Miles find that out, he was trying to change it. He wants to change everything. He gives out a speech saying that he can be Spider-Man every time.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, you can't be Spider-Man every time. Like, it was very emotional. And that's where Penny P. Parker finally shows up and reveals herself more grown up. She became more grown up than the one we recognize her. Her armor suit that she used to do Spider-Man stuff has become more leaner, more powerful.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Yeah, because in the first one, it got destroyed.
Yeah. And she created this one. Something in her universe changed that made her become the way she is, because we know her as a happy giddy girl from the first movie. When she got reintroduced, she was sad, depressed, and you could see bag under her eyes.
Yeah.
It was like sad to see that character become the whole happy giddy girl to sad, hardworking, and trying to go through life.
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense why she would be part of this citadel of Spider-Mans. But yeah, it does make sense why she would be there, because you make a really good observation that she's not the same character as she was before. And it also kind of makes me think about like, why was Noir and Spider-Ham not there? I feel that Noir wasn't there because I feel like just like Spider-Punk, he's probably someone who's like a nonconformist, and he's someone who kind of likes to go like, kind of like goes like their own, like he goes to the beat of his own drum. He's not really like a conformist or anything like that. And I also feel like Spider-Man is also, he's kind of like a guy who kind of does his own thing. And I feel like he probably wouldn't fit in with like the other Spider people. Like I know why they're not in the movie. It's because they got so much story to tell that they would be like distracting, or they couldn't find a place to put them in. But that's my headcanon why they're not there. But I will say this. I was glad that we got to see them at the very, very end.
Yes, I was happy too. I was happy. And also, I'm just gonna put this in. On the first movie of the Spider-Man, of when they introduced Miles Morales, when Penny P. Parker was revealed, there was a lot of sussy content out there.
Oh my god.
And now when we saw the adult version of her, I'm expecting a whole lot of more sussy content out there. And I'm not gonna be surprised if I do see one day in Twitter of a sussy Penny Parker reveal. I'm gonna say like, Yep, I knew it. People out there are
Well, you know,
down bad.
it's rule 34 of the internet. If it
Yes.
exists, there's a porn of it.
I'm just expecting what they're gonna do. There's like the second I saw it, like, yeah, there's gonna be a whole lot of shit about her in Twitter.
Yeah, but I do like one thing that about the first Spider-Verse that I did like is I like the fact that her and Spider-Ham were like the two like art styles that were different. Because
Oh yeah, they were different
yeah,
because they
because she
had
was anime, he was like
cartoonish.
classic cartoon animation. I like the fact that they were in the first one, and then that's the reason why I missed them in this one.
Because they were so good with their own animation style.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Oh, or what was I gonna say? So, so I forgot to mention that this movie is a part one of a part two story.
Oh yeah, it is a part. The original idea was to make it a full movie,
Hmm.
but they realized it was so long and they're gonna tell so much information all at once
Hmm.
that they decided to make it a part one and part two. Originally, it was supposed to be Spider-Man Part One, Spider-Man Part Two
Hmm.
into the uh into the
So
multiverse.
yeah, it was
But now
supposed
they
yeah
changing it. Now they're changing it up with
from yeah originally it was supposed to just be called Across the Spider Verse parts one and two, but this one is called Across the Spider Verse. The next one will be called Beyond the Spider Verse.
yes, and I'm actually excited.
Hmm.
And originally, the movie was supposed to come out at 20.
Yeah, April 2022.
Yeah, it was
But
supposed to come out, but because of COVID,
yeah,
they had
COVID.
to hold it back a bit.
Yeah. And also, one thing that did worry me about this sequel is that it wasn't going to be as good as the original because I don't think any of the original directors were a part of this one. I think the three new directors were people who worked on the first one, but they weren't the original directors. But they still had the producers Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and they also wrote the script for it. So the movie was in good hands, and the directors did do a fine job. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I fucking love this animation that they did. Um, so one thing that really did surprise me, or not surprise me, but one thing that was interesting where Miles ends up is at the end of the movie, he's not in his original universe. He after he gets chased down by all the Spider-Men, he gets into this machine
Oh
that is
wait,
supposed to take
wait
no, no, but
before.
let me finish.
Yeah, yeah,
Let
yeah.
me
Go, go,
finish.
go.
All right. So he gets into this machine that's supposed to take him where his original universe is supposed to be, but because the machine reads his DNA based on, I guess, because of the spider bite, his spider powers, they send him to a different dimension that he isn't a part of. And the movie actually doesn't tell you right away. I like the way that they reveal it
Yeah, they
because
were paneling
yeah,
of the whole series. Miles was raining as well.
uh-huh.
Same thing with another scene where they were revealing, but
Hmm.
the whole thing looks lined up, thinking that okay,
Oh, but there
so
was a big difference. I don't know if you saw this.
uh,
The lighting when we see the original Miles Morales universe, everything is colored in blue and red, and in the fake universe or like the other universe, it's colored green and purple, like the colors of the Prowler.
ah,
And so in this alternate universe, we discover that Miles Morales is not Spider-Man.
he's actually
He's the
the
Prowler.
Prowler. Yes,
And
and then
Mhm.
before we continue on, the spider that was supposed. I came to this theory after this after watching the movie.
Mhm.
I came up with a theory saying that because of the original movie of them taking that spider away
Mhm.
from that universe, the Spider-Man from that universe was never born.
Mhm.
Because when we see that universe, everything was in chaos a little bit.
Mhm.
Fires was going out. Everything was in chaos.
Mhm.
And because of no Spider-Man there, the world just became how it is.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of what would have happened if they helped that universe get the
Well,
Spider-Man there and
well, that's actually one of my theories. So, like again, I said that this is a part one of a part two story. I think of Miles's arc in the next one is probably trying to like not fix. I mean, it's trying like I think he's really gonna try to help his counterpart. he's gonna try to help him, steer him in the right path. Like who knows, like what's gonna happen there? But I feel that that's gonna be a big part of his story in the next one.
Yeah, because in this counterpart, his father died,
Yeah.
and Miles is about to see his father get dead.
Yeah, because that's probably something that they can probably do to like get both of them to connect. He could be like, "Come on, man, my dad's gonna die," and then the other Miles is probably something's probably gonna touch his heart and maybe like open him up to teaming up with this Miles. And who knows, maybe by the end of the next movie, both Miles are teaming up together to fight the Spot or maybe beat the shit out of 2099 because he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah, but what else were you gonna say about this?
It will be very interesting to see what will happen. Will they help that universe to get a Spider-Man, because they did that the spider that was supposed to bite Peter Parker of that version was spider was taken away. So would they help fix it, or would they just leave it how it is and just call it a dead universe of no Spider-Man? Because the Spider-Man was supposed to be created, they took a spider from that universe. So a Spider-Man should have been born in that world, but they didn't, because that spider was taken away.
I think they are going to probably try to redeem that other Miles. If not, they're probably going to do... They maybe might... Yeah, they probably will try to redeem that Miles. Who knows if that Miles will actually turn good, or who knows if that Miles might die? Who knows? But I do hope that they try to maybe like redeem him, and then it would be really cool that at the end of the movie, both Miles like save the day. That would be really cool in my eyes. But that's just my theory. Who knows what's gonna happen next year when they release the next one?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited because it got me piqued interest. When I get piqued interest, I do as much research as possible to see what's up, because this universe 54 is where they got it from. No, it's 74 or
45.
45.
No, 42.
42. I got interested in this universe. I want to know what happened to their Spider-Man, and what's going on.
Yeah, because I do think that the next movie, I think like maybe the first half of the movie is Miles trying to like get back to his other universe, and then at some point the other his other spider friends are finally gonna catch up to him and bring him back. One thing that I also want to see in the next one is how like I mentioned that both Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Man Punk are kind of like kind of similar characters. Because like Spider-Punk, he fights fascists. Spider-Man Noir, he punches Nazis. Fascists and Nazis, they're basically the same.
Yeah.
I wanna see both those characters interact and maybe become bros or something. I'd like to see that because they're so similar. Or who knows, maybe they'll dislike each other because they are so similar. Who knows?
Yeah, we will see. We will see.
Yeah. Anything else spoilery that you want to mention?
Not really. They were just showing a lot of references of each Spider-Man of their training during the whole universe of them doing the canonic scene of the Spider-Man pull for the train thing.
Yeah.
And the training dummies of Octopus. If you heard one of the lines, is like one of the lines I heard it very vaguely, and it was one of the famous lines like, "Hello, Spider-Man." Like, you're born, like, "Hello, Spider-Man" from Green Goblin, from the Tobey Maguire, I think. No.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire was like, "Hello, Spider-Man." Like his high pitched hello to Spider-Man. I heard it. They did a lot of references from the old movie. You shouldn't have
spilled your beans to me, Spider-Man.
There was a lot of references that I cannot remember at the top of my head because they were a lot. But there is one that, if you guys notice, when Miles went to his dorm, his roommate knows he's Spider-Man. And if you guys pay attention on the computer screen, he was laying down playing a PlayStation game, which was Marvel Spider-Man. He was playing a Marvel Spider game in there, which was a little hint reference towards it.
Also made by Sony, and Sony always likes to fucking put their own products in their movies. In the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, Peter Parker has a Sony phone and a Sony laptop.
Oh my god.
They just love putting their shit in their movies.
Oh my god. Oh, and also, Potter Pete Parker and Spider-Man 2099 are best buddies apparently.
Ah, Pepper.
They show like they talk, they hang as well, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else? Cause let me just take a quick look at my notes.
There was a lot of things in here that is we can spoil even more, but I think those are the main points of we wanted to talk about.
I like the use of color in this movie. And like I mentioned before, there's a lot of creative use of shadows there's a lot of creative uses of color as shadows and shading in this movie. Also, one thing I found interesting that for Gwen Stacy's parts, her scenes, the colors are they do something really interesting with the colors. Like the colors are so like they overwhelm the scene, because when Gwen Stacy, when we see her in her world, oftentimes her whole body is one color, and her dad, which is like the person she has a lot of conflict with in the movie, he's also one color. And at the end of the movie, when they finally reunite and reconcile, the color changes to a more normal color palette, where we actually get to see the characters in their true colors. So that's one other little thing I wanted to mention. But anything else that you have to say?
No, that's basically it for me. That's all all the spoilers we talked about. It's the main points I wanted to talk about. So honestly, I'm all good now.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Let's do our ratings. What would you rate Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
For me, on all points, just on my standards alone, 10 out of 10. I really love this one.
I'm gonna give this one maybe an 8 out of 10.
Oh.
There's still a few things that I wasn't too happy about, but nothing really that ruined the movie for me. Again, there's very few movies that I would consider perfect. I would probably maybe not give it such a full like a full rating, like a full 10 out of 10, because sometimes I don't like part 1 and part 2 stories, but this one did it so well that I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
It's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's a good
Who does not like a good cliffhanger?
Yeah, but just imagine, wouldn't it suck if, like, for whatever reason they don't ever make another one?
Oh, then my rating would have been 6 out of 10.
That's why I sometimes don't like part 1 and part 2 stories.
What about Kill Bill?
Kill Bill is fine because that was always meant to be two parts, so they were always gonna make it. What I mean, because like sometimes, because okay, so here's the thing, the first Spider-Verse movie wasn't like a super big hit, so I was worried if this one isn't a big hit, we're not gonna get the second part. But this one, I looked on the internet already. It's made $200 million at the box office.
Bing, bing, bing! Success.
And the movie cost $100 million, so it already made double its budget back. And so the movie's gonna be playing for a few months, anyways.
Yeah, it just started, so it should be getting more later on.
I feel confident that this movie is gonna make at least $600 million.
You want to put a bet on that, Professor?
Not really, because I don't bet, but I have a good feeling that it might not make $1 billion, but I think it'll make a good amount of money.
All right, cool.
And we're definitely gonna get, and I think Miles Morales sells a lot of merch, so I think it would be a good thing for Sony to release part 2.
You know what I just noticed?
What?
After watching this, there have been a lot of movies that had black main characters.
Like
Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah.
Moana.
Well, Moana isn't black; she's Pacific Islander. But there have been a lot of movies with different protagonists of different ethnicities,
which I love. It's like new, fresh.
Well, in the episode that we're gonna record for your show on the main podcast episode, I have a little bit of things to say about the whole casting different ethnicities as main characters in Hollywood movies. But we'll get to that in a different episode.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna say anything racist because I'm not a racist, but I'm gonna piss off some white people when I say my shit.
Oh no! So hope you guys enjoy that. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If there's nothing else we want to talk about, because I am done. Nothing from me.
Not really. I think I've said everything that I wanted to say about this movie.
Alrighty then. Then hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Please leave a like, put a comment down, and share it with your friends. And then if there's anything else you want us to review ourselves to just watch it for a future episode, put it in the comments below. We read our comics when there's some, if there's one out there. We do. So if you guys enjoy it, please leave a like, subscribe, and we see you guys in the next episode.
All right, that's a wrap.